Day and night, sunrise and sunset. One comes after another. Every day, within 24 hours, we see one sunrise and one sunset. This fact goes unnoticeable because it's like a universal truth for us. To all the sunset lovers out there, if I say that you can witness a sunset only once a year, will you be disappointed? I think you will. But friends, it's actually the case with the poles. And it is the main reason behind the extreme condition of both the poles. The sun is always low on the horizon, so even in the summer when the sun is up all day, it feels cold. In winter, the sun is far below the horizon and doesn't come up for several months. Just imagine the winter temperature where the extreme summer temperature can't go over 0 degrees Celsius. So the days are just like night, cold and dark, and nights are critically cold. The North Pole and South Pole are at the opposite ends of our planet, but they are very similar. For instance, scientists consider these two regions as desert. We usually link the word desert with heat, sand, and a huge vacant landmass. But originally, our region is classified as desert if it receives less than 250 mm rain or snowfall per year. According to observation, both poles receives less than 250 mm of precipitation per year. So the Arctic region and Antarctica are indeed deserts. But take a look at the temperature table. The North Pole reaches 0 degrees Celsius in summer, while the South Pole doesn't even come into a positive number. It's minus 28 degrees Celsius during summer. And during winter, Antarctica, the South Pole reaches minus 60 degrees Celsius. Not only that, the coldest temperature recorded on Earth is minus 89.2 degrees Celsius at Vostok Station, Antarctica. So, there is always a 20 to 25 degree temperature difference between both poles, making the South Pole situation more extreme for life. Today in this video, we will explore why Antarctica is colder than Arctic region and what makes these two poles different. Hello everyone, my name is Aditya and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Sky Map. Ice formation in the polar region is very common in our solar system. Mars has ice in its poles. Even the closest planet to the Sun, Mercury, also has polar ice. In the case of Earth, the main reason behind the ice formation is Earth rotation, revolution, and most importantly, its axial tilt. We all know Earth is tilted at 23.5 degree angle on its own axis. This tilt is highly responsible for the seasonal change on Earth. Due to this axial tilt, during July-August month, the northern hemisphere gets direct sunlight. During this time, the northern hemisphere gets warmer and experiences the summer season. On the opposite side, the southern hemisphere gets less sunlight and experiences winter. The summer and winter seasons are completely dependent on the amount of sunlight received from the sun, as sun is the only source of energy in our solar system. On the other hand, during December-January month, the Earth comes on the opposite side of the sun. So the southern hemisphere gets more sunlight and experiences summer, while the northern hemisphere undergoes winter. In our day-to-day life, the northern hemisphere seasons are considered the main season because the number of continents on this side is considerably higher than in the south. So the population in the northern side is also higher. Now, notice carefully. During summer in the northern hemisphere, the sun never sets in the North Pole and never rises in the South Pole. This whole summer is daytime for Arctic and completely dark for Antarctica. Antarctica. Similarly, during the southern hemisphere summer, it's completely dark in Arctic, and in the South Pole, Antarctica, it's daytime. That's why I said before that if you stay at the poles, you will see one sunrise and one sunset in a single year. Moreover, when the poles get sunlight from the sun, it hits the surface in a critical angle. So a huge amount of this sun rays gets reflected in the space. Altogether, the poles of our planet get a very limited amount of sunlight, which is why we see icy structures over here. This explains the similarities between two poles. But our today's topic is totally opposite. Why the South Pole's average temperature is so low compared to the North Pole? There is mainly three reasons behind it. Let's talk about them one by one. First, let's talk about Earth's elliptical orbit. The Earth rotates around the Sun, which takes approximately 365 days. But the Earth rotates in an elliptical orbit. This means the distance from the Sun increases and decreases. At the farthest stage, it is 152 million kilometers away, and at its closest stage, it is 147 million kilometers away from the Sun. Every planet in our solar system orbits the Sun in an elliptical orbit. In fact, it's Kepler's first law of planetary motion. Kepler's second law says a planet will move faster when it is closer to the Sun, and the same planet will move slower when it is farther away from the Sun. So, we orbit the Sun faster when we are closer to the Sun and slower when we are farther away from the Sun. According to observation, during the summer in the northern hemisphere, which means July-August month, we are at the farthest point from the Sun. So during this time, we orbit the Sun at slowest speed, and the summer lasts for longer period. On the opposite side, during December-January, we stay at the closest point to the Sun. Due to this, the Earth orbits at much higher speed, and the winter of the northern hemisphere lasts for shorter period. So the summer of the northern hemisphere are long and winters are short. Oppositely, winters of the southern hemisphere are long and summers are short. According to observation, the sun sets at the South Pole for 7 to 8 months, whereas in the North Pole, the sun sets only for 5 to 6 months. This prolonged winter is the main reason behind the extreme temperature of the South Pole, Antarctica. Let's talk about the next big reason. The South Pole of the Earth is itself a continent. It's the fifth largest continent named Antarctica. So the South Pole of the Earth is originally a landmass covered by ice. Over time, the sheet of ice has become thicker. Now it's a 5 to 6 kilometer thick ice sheet upon the landmass. In this time lapse, you can see during seasonal changes the exterior of the landmass gets changed, but the main landmass with thick sheet of ice doesn't change. On the other hand, the North Pole doesn't have a proper landmass. On the outer side of the polar region, there is some landmass, but this portion is just negligible. The main North Pole is originally an ice sheet upon the Arctic Ocean. During summer, the salty water of the Arctic Ocean melts a huge amount of ice. That's why every year the structure of the North Pole changes. As the ice of the Antarctica doesn't melt due to the landmass, it can sustain much lower temperature throughout the whole year. Another reason that the South Pole is much colder than the North Pole is the strength of the wind blowing around it. Antarctica is surrounded by waters all the side. There is no land to slow down the wind. So the ocean's water and wind blow without any restriction. This wind also stops the warmer air from the warmer places like North America, South America, and Australia. It helps Antarctica to get colder and stay colder. Winds also blow around the North Pole and the Arctic Ocean, but these are not so strong most of the time. There is land around the Arctic Ocean that can slow down the winds. Because of these lands, the warmer air from the south of the Arctic can mix with the polar air. This is another reason why the Arctic is warmer. After seeing this video, please don't think Arctic is warm. Please don't be so motivated that you plan your next trip to the North Pole without proper winter clothing. It's still cold. During summer, it hardly reaches a positive temperature. It's not a matter of joke. At the end of the video, one last question to you all. Do you know the axial tilt of Earth is changing? The inclination of the tilt and the direction of the tilt both changing. It has a huge impact on Earth's atmosphere. If you know about this, please write down in the comment section. And if you have any specific question about this topic, please also write them in the comment section. If you found this cosmic journey very fascinating, then I think you will also like this video, where we have unveiled the mysteries of dark matter, the invisible matter everywhere. You will also like this one, where we have talked about the destruction of Earth and end of humanity. At last, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family members. And subscribe for more space related content. And remember, keep looking up, stay curious, and explore the mysteries of the night sky.